Let me just tell y'all a good safety tip. She would save you a lot of money. When your engine light comes on,
Ignore it.
no.
That's what I was
When the engine light starts blinking, stop immediately or you've ruined your engine. But if it's just on, instead of in another city 250 miles away, calling the dealer and saying,
Mr. Mayor,
Let it ride.
no, go check the gas
Yes.
cap and make sure the gas cap is properly. And I have one of those that it pops open, and then when you put the tank with the thing in the tank, you know, there's a metal thing that just moves. The metal thing, I didn't know it. It was stuck open.
Oh, really?
And it will cause the check engine light, and that can save you a lot of money. Now, fortunately, I was able to call off but I was headed for the dealer.
It's taking you this long to work that.
No, I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Because I've had to like look for that reason before.
Oh, did you know? All right. Well, it's not in the owner's manual that I've got.
Helping everything.
Before you do anything, go check and make sure that the gas thing is, the gas nozzle is properly. But anyway, apparently air gets in there, and then there's a vacuum of some sort, and then some kind of like. Did you know that, Mike?
Mike knows everything.
Did you know about that?
You know, I actually took somebody's lawnmower and replaced their gas cap, and it ran for years when they couldn't get it started and they threw it out. So yeah, I know that gas caps are very important.
I'll be honest. Well, I didn't. That was the first one on me. This one, boy.
I remember doing this.
Well, I like to share those mistakes of mine for others not to make. But
Well, we thank you, Judge. Those that are challenged like myself.
that was a tricky one. I mean, that.
My daughter
Because
started that. It wouldn't start.
They said, "Did you check your cap?" And I go, "Yeah, the cap is sealed." And he goes, "No. Go open it up and then look and see if that little
I didn't know
metal
about
thing
that.
is in place." And it was open. Never had that. Anyway,
I remember the guy who drove around with a rag. He stuck it in there.
If you're looking for
who
these,
had the rag? And then he shows positive for cocaine on the way. He stops and gets him some cocaine. -34081 is called. You were here with Mr. Grove, your attorney and the state's attorney. There was a first amended motion to revoke probation in this, right?
yes, sir.
Does the defendant waive a formal reading of this? Can we proceed in summary?
Yes, Your Honor.
In summary, this first amended motion to revoke unadjudicated probation filed on September 1st of this year states that on August 12th, 2021, in this case, you were placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation for assault on a public servant. Is all of that true and correct?
Yes.
Did you just say this agreement was?
On the tablet today, it shows up for November 9th, but I know that they signed it last week on October 9th as well, Judge.
October.
You have a judge? I have.
Nope.
one That says.
I don't have October
November
9th.
9th.
What in the world are we doing with November 9th?
Well, this was set for a hearing, Judge, and this plea is coming from that.
I don't have anything on the
I'm-
queue past
I know,
today.
I'm signing it, Judge. Well, I'm fixing the dates.
All right, which allegation is he pleading to? Which one? Is it number two?
Judge, the only one that deals with an offense, I believe, is the first amended count 2 and count 3.
Well, let's just do one.
The other ones, I think they're all,
Well, it only takes one.
Count 2, Judge.
Two states that you committed the offense of taking a weapon from an officer on or about August 8th, 2023 in Kendall County, Texas.
Judge,
Is that still pending?
Yes, sir.
Was he pleading true to that or not?
no, sir, I would ask the court not to let him plead for some of these other ones that are administrative, so he will not
Committed the
be.
offense of resisting arrest on or about
Yes,
August
sir.
8th in Kendall County?
He also has a urine test. He has not performed his community service hours. There are some other grounds, but I would rather not have him plead to taking a weapon from an
Let me
officer
ask you
in
on
Kendall
this.
County because I am not, I don't represent him there.
What's the deal on it? What's the deal?
The deal is 5 years.
5 years. Just
Well, this is serious. This is, I mean, a repeated allegation. Well, you pleaded true to this indictment, which was causing bodily injury to a peace officer. Now you've got on my watch here, while you were under this court's probation, taking a weapon from an officer and also resisting arrest.
Those are both out of the same incident. He was in a tussle with the officer there and
It sounds bad to
resisting
me.
the arrest and taking his taser is what he did, Judge.
Well, that doesn't sound good to me. It sounds kind of like you can't, you fight with police officers and you don't respect authority.
Judge, I'm not trying to tell the court the entire thing, but there was also some indications from talking to the people in Kendall County that he had some mental problems, that he'd been reported, that he'd been taken to a mental hospital
Did they
in San
indict him?
Antonio.
They did. They evaluated him and he had been released. So that I can affirm that's true. But I can also affirm from talking to the witnesses on this that they took every method to work with him and he was just unreasonable. He was uncontrollable on that day, Judge.
Judge,
That
I'm
doesn't sound
concerned.
good.
No, sir. But I have talked to the officer. He is available to come for the hearing date. He knows that we have this agreement. He approves it. I'm asking the court to approve it. My preference is that he at minimum enter a plea to
Which
either
officer
count
are you
2 or
talking
3.
about? The one in this indictment?
No, they
The
all,
ones out of Kendall County.
Yep,
We got
ones
a lot
out
of
of-
officers here involved as victims, it sounds like.
I'm referencing, my comments are about the officer out of Vernon. I have not recontacted the officers in regards to this agreement. I was in contact with them before I gave the probation offer that I did to Mr. Roebuck on this case originally.
And then there, not the least of which here is he's showing positive for cocaine.
Yes, sir.
Where was that?
That was here in Jefferson County after he was arrested and brought back to Jefferson County.
Okay, they brought him pretty quick.
I believe.
Brought him pretty quickly. And so he was in custody in Kendall County. Then they brought him here. Right?
He was in a mental hospital from August the 8th until August the 14th. And he was released when he came to report to us on August 17th.
Oh, okay. He was not. Okay. Well, how did he, on the assaults, what did you do, bond out?
Well, they took him into a mental health evaluation from this incident.
And then they just released him. They didn't pick him back up?
They picked him up and brought him back to the hospital. And then he was committed to the mental hospital.
I believe he was released from the mental hospital.
And then what did he do when he was released from the mental hospital?
His family brought him back here.
Yeah. And then he shows positive for cocaine on the way. He stops and gets him some cocaine.
Either that or it was in his system from the
For a week? I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
Well, Judge, he was, I don't know what he took. I don't know what.
I'm not naive
He was
to
in the
that.
hospital for a week. Judge, I just feel very reluctant because he does have that other charge.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that your charge is not serious because it is serious.
Yes, sir.
No, he's looking at 20 years in prison. To me, I find
Yes,
that pretty
Let me find
serious,
it, Judge. I thought I had.
this is, but fighting with the police is ridiculous. Ridiculous. On probation, fighting, so you're on probation for it, so you quite naturally fight with the police. And then you're tested positive for cocaine. What do you do right? All you do is you're committing all kinds of crimes.
Yes, sir. I'll do 13 when I'm to the hospital.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Who'd you get your cocaine from?
Nobody.
Oh, okay. So you tested positive for cocaine and you don't know how that happened? It was a miraculous event?
Yeah, because I
A miraculous event.
But you know, I did the wrong stuff. And I apologize for it.
Wait a second. Okay. He was on 5 years deferred probation before he even came to us for assault on a public servant. In this county?
I don't think that's right, Judge.
I
Well,
don't
that's what
believe
the
that's
pre-sentence
correct,
report
Judge.
was.
He had a prior DWI.
Can you check? Are you from around here? Are you a citizen of the United States? Are you a citizen of the United States?
No, sir.
No, Judge, this one that you're referencing, that's the offense that he's on probation for. All of those arose out of the same incident and we resolved it in one probation.
No, that's not flying by me. No, and to compound it that you're not even a citizen of the United States. We welcome you and all you do is assault police officers and take cocaine. No, shame on you.
Sir.
Shame on you. We'll set this for a hearing on a motion to revoke probation hearing. And we'll see what happens and we'll go from there. I'm not accepting the deal here on this.
Yes, sir.
This is not appropriate behavior for anyone, citizen or non-citizen, but shame on you for not following the rules. All right. I'm gonna set it in 4 weeks. Tell me, and if you can't be ready, let me know.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Kevin, how about you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
We have, is Gonzalo Alvarado still something we need to take up?
It is, Your Honor, with your permission.
Yeah. Oh, you got a bunch here, huh?
Yes, sir.
It was, it's just,
Yeah. I'll get handwriters cramp.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if the judge wants.
Dennis says Alvarado, Tommy says Alvarado.
It's been, then I make a read.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Yeah. One more. That's in most cases I've ever disposed of at one hearing for one case. 20.
Another that was close. I think you did 18 before.
I don't think I ever did that. Okay, now we call 23 CR 989, the state of Texas versus Gonzalo Alvarado. You're you, Mr. Alvarado.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. McClellan is here
Yes, sir.
representing you. You, as you know, are charged in this indictment handed up on July 26th of 2023 with the first degree felony of injury to a child or disabled person or elderly person. It says, though, in the body of this indictment that on or about July 2nd, 2023 in Jefferson County, Texas, you caused serious bodily injury to Mariah Cabrera, a child 14 years of age or younger, by, it says, holding her face down in a bed and suffocating her. She didn't die, did she?
She did.
She perished from this?
Yes. 20-month-old. This is the
It's
PC.
not murder.
No, at this stage, we're still proceeding with that accusation, Judge, but the state certainly is contemplating whether or not it could be murder as well.
Okay, you've read,
I have, Your Honor.
is this just a conventional first degree felony, or is there any
It's conventional.
Enhanced.
Yes.
minimum to it?
No, sir.
No?
Just a conventional first.
Okay. Go ahead.
With your permission, Your Honor. Judge, we would like for the court to hear testimony as to a request for a bond reduction for.
What is the bond now?
500,000.
$500,000.
Go ahead.
Judge, we have witnesses in the courtroom. We have a family member as well as an employment individual to confirm that Mr. Alvarado will have secured employment as well as where he would be residing if the court was to consider a bond reduction and to confirm to the court that he would not be a flight risk.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
Good. Always been?
Yes, sir.
Born and
Okay.
raised, Judge, yes.
Good. Where did you grow up?
President Houston.
Pasadena.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Judge, with your permission, if we could hear from our first witness.
Go ahead.
We'd like to call Miss Natalia Alvarado to the court, to the bench.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any statements you make today during this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Lower your hand.
Thank you, Judge.
An ATM, LIE. Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Alvarado, would you state your name and your relationship to the defendant for the court?
Natalia Alvarado, Gonzalez Alvarado.
You're the mother of the defendant,
Yes, sir.
so it's safe to say you've known him all his life.
Yes,
Prior to his one move, he has already said to the court that he lived in Pasadena, Texas. Was that under your roof?
yes, sir.
How many years would you say that he lived with you?
His wife.
So how long ago did he leave Pasadena?
Oh, leave or, since, starting like in February, like that.
So prior to February, he had lived in that, had the same residence all his life.
Yes,
And how old is he right now?
24.
So 23, 24 years he's lived in Pasadena. And since then, obviously he moved. When he moved, has he moved to several locations or has it
No.
only been one location? So in his entire life, he's lived two places.
Yeah.
And both of them have been within this, well, within Jefferson County or Harris County.
Yes,
Being his mother, are you aware of any sort of a criminal record?
never.
Has he ever been arrested prior to this issue?
He's always been a good boy.
And as far as his physical condition, do you know him to have any sort of mental issues or physical conditions that would not allow him to come to court if the court was to allow him a bond?
Yeah, I mean, he has never had no issues with nothing. I mean, he's never taken medicine for anything.
And as far as siblings, who else, how many children or
He has
brothers and
two
sisters did he have?
He has two sisters.
And what are their ages?
His second sister is 21. She's 21 and the smallest is 19.
So they're both adults.
Yes, sir.
So there's no children in them. Okay. If the court was to grant Mr. Alvarado a bond that was to the level that he could pay, and he was to be released on bond, where would he be staying?
At home. And with us.
With you
Yes,
and your husband, correct? And your husband's in the courtroom.
yes, sir.
But the reason we can't hear from him is because he does not speak English. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you aware if Mr. Alvarado has any outstanding warrants?
He doesn't have anything.
And
Prior to this, we've never had no issue.
this is the only issue he's ever had. That being said, are you aware of any outstanding warrants or any sort of issues that he has pending?
No, he has never had any.
He's never had a court in the past. He's never had a court that he could have possibly
No.
not appeared to.
Yeah.
Do you, while Mr. Alvarado lives under your roof, does he have possession of a firearm? Are there any firearms? There's no arms at the home at all?
No.
None by Mr. Alvarado, none by your husband, none by yourself?
Okay.
As the court asked earlier, your son's a U.S. citizen, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
As far as you know, no immigration issues at all.
No,
Do you see any reason why, if your son was released, that your son would not be able to make it to court, whether it be transportation,
No
phone
reason.
calls?
no reason at all. He'll be here whenever he needs to be there.
And are you and or your husband in a position that if he needed transportation,
He will.
you would be the ones to provide him with transportation?
Yes, sir.
If he lived under your roof, would he have any certain rules?
Yes. I mean,
Well-
like always, have to be home at a certain time. No, he never drink or smoke or anything. So he knows that right while he's at home, he has to follow the rules.
So as far as you're aware of, while he lived with you, you never had any issues with him with alcohol consumption, foreign substances, anything? And of course, you're aware of the charges that against your son today, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And are you and the rest of your family fully in support of him?
Yes.
Still knowing these accusations?
Yeah.
Sorry. Judge. You are in support of him to the point that you are the members of the family that hired us, correct?
Exactly.
And being that you hired us, are you guys in the position that if the court was to give a reasonable bond in the eyes of the defense,
Mhm.
would you be able to help them with that sort of a bond
Yes.
situation? And can you tell the court what you do for a living?
I work at school at a college nutrition
Are you a nurse?
cafeteria.
You work, that's okay. Yes.
School cafeteria.
So you work in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
What about your husband?
He works in pipeline. He's a machinery operator.
Okay. And your husband has worked at his current job for over a year?
Yeah, well, he's been with the company and sometimes the job ends and.
Oh, so it's as
Yeah.
work is available.
Mhm.
And the person that employs him is also in the courtroom, Mr.
Yes.
Cooley, is that correct?
Yes,
And as far as you're aware, Mr. Cooley has offered your son a job to confirm that if he was to be released, you have a job waiting for him. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Do you see any reason other than finances that if your son was provided a bond, that he would not be able to make it to court?
Mm.
And is there any way that you can assure this court that if he was under your roof, you'd be the one to bring him to court, you'd be the one to take care of him, you'd be the one to make sure he's on the up and up, he is a grown man, but in light of the situation.
I know, we'll be there for him, whatever he needs to come to court. We can't, we'll bring him. We'll be supporting him and everything. We want him to get out of this, so we want him to go through what the law says.
And just in summary, he's lived with you for 23 plus years.
Yes.
Only lived one other place for less than a year.
Yeah.
No mental, no physical conditions. No financial abilities right now, but obviously he doesn't have his job
Yeah.
currently because of this issue. Family, friends,
Everybody's.
he'd be under your work, he'd be under your roof.
Yeah.
As far as you're aware, no outstanding criminal cases,
No.
never been arrested before in his life.
No,
Does not possess a firearm, nor is there a firearm at the home.
no,
No immigration issues.
No.
Judge, we don't have any other questions for this
Witness.
testimony and witness.
Can you confirm for the court where he was residing when this incident occurred?
and, Jefferson, I want to hear in Newport.
In Port Arthur?
Yeah, Port, sorry, Port Arthur.
Wait, let her.
Was that at 2106 Canal Avenue? With his then girlfriend Stephanie Lopez,
Yes,
the mother of the child Mariah Cabrera? And they were living together for a period of time before this incident occurred?
Yeah.
You remember how long they were living together?
and I recall like 3 months.
But prior to the incident, he was one of the caregivers for this child. I mean, obviously they weren't married, but they were in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Yes. You mentioned that he's got an employer here that's a job. I didn't,
Pipeline,
okay, if it was said, I missed it. It's in the pipeline industry. Is that a
Yes.
job he's had before?
yes, sir.
Okay,
And I'm sorry, just for the state's knowledge, we were planning on bringing them up.
I understand. Thank you. No further questions, Chef.
Anything else from this lady?
Not from the defense. Judge.
Okay, next witness, please. Thank you.
We'd like to call Mr. Cooling, Jody Cooling. That's C-O-L-E-Y. J-O-D-Y.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Lawyer.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Cooling, again, could you state your name and your occupation for the court?
Jody Cooley. I work for Newfield Incorporated. I'm an assistant superintendent.
You're an
Assistant superintendent.
assistant superintendent.
Okay.
And Mr. Cooley, are you in charge of hiring and firing at the business?
Yes, sir.
And you also Mr. Alvarado's father's employer as well, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And based upon his vouching for his son and your knowledge of his son, you are aware of the pending
Yes, sir.
criminal cases against him, and knowing the criminal pending charges against him, and knowing that he would be on bond and still fighting this case,
Yes, sir.
you are telling this court that you have a job waiting for him
Yes, sir.
once he gets out.
Yes, sir. I sure do.
And can you tell them the type of job and the hourly rate?
He'd be hired in as a labor. He'd be 15 an hour and $100 a day per diem, 60 hours a week, 6 days a week.
And if the court wanted some sort of proof of that employment, how soon could Mr. Alvarado provide, like, let's say, a check stub or something to the court?
It'd be the second week of employment. First week, you don't get paid until the following week, so that's when you get a check stub. So it'd be the second week, yes, sir.
Thank you. And push came to shove, I could ask you for a letter that states that he's fully in your employment,
Yes, sir.
maybe a 1099 or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No further questions for the court, Judge.
No questions, Chef.
Why would you hire him?
Because give him a second chance.
What, he worked for you before?
No, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. We just hire. If somebody's looking for a job and needs a job, I'm willing to help them out and get them a job.
Oh, okay. Okay. What are they making out? For this
Labor,
job.
his will start out at 15 hourly and $100 a day per diem. And if he moves up to a welder helper, it'll be, I think, 17 an hour, $100 a day per diem. And it just goes up from there.
Where did the defendant go to school?
Sorry.
Yeah.
And how far did you get?
Deer Park?
Deer Park, I'm sorry.
Deer Park in Houston?
And
Did
how
you
far did
graduate?
Yeah.
Okay.
High school graduate.
Did you go to, what about college? Did you go to college?
I went to San Jack for 6 months to get money.
As a what?
Welding.
Well, why didn't you complete that?
I got stuck into pipeline molding, and then I looked into the pipeline. I was trying to move into it, more into welding, but it's kind of hard to get into. You have to have like, what's it called?
Yeah.
You have to have some.
Do you have to have certifications? You have to have some sort of experience? You can attest.
They make a lot more money.
Yes, it does cost a lot of money to become a welder. And you have to pass the test, a welding test. But yeah, you're looking at $100,000 just to get started.
Maybe they get paid $40 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
I
they
wish
make,
I was a little.
yes, they make more than I make. And I'm their boss.
That's what we're loaded with down here. People who saw that as an opportunity to capitalize on. And
Yes, sir.
I wish more people did from here, you know. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
We have no further, we have no further witnesses for the court. If the court would like to hear arguments.
Does the state have any?
No, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Thank you.
Judge, in light of the testimony that's been provided to this court, we feel that the defendant has provided sufficient information to the court to confirm that he is not a flight risk, that he has family ties to the community. He's never been in trouble before, has no criminal history, educated young man, went to high school, has a job waiting for him, and has full support of his family. There's three sisters. There's two sisters. We didn't want to bring them in because they're got work and school and stuff, but he does have full support of his family. Testimony stated there is no firearms. He doesn't own a firearm. There are no firearms in the home where he would be. No contact with any sort of a child or anyone under the age of 18 would need to occur based upon the testimony. Obviously, U.S. citizen, no immigration issues, and obviously no prior criminal history. All of those are in light of all those factors, we would ask the court to consider a minimum bond in this case. We do understand the allegations against the court or against the defendant. However, we also know that the court needs to take into account the defendant's ability to pay, which right now, without a job, will not be able to pay any bond other than the assistance of the family. His mom's a cafeteria worker. He needs to get out there. He needs to work. And in light of who the defendant is, we would think that we would ask the court to take all that into account when posting when offering a proper bond setting.
Okay, state.
Judge, I agree that his criminal history is that way. But I'm relying upon the nature of the offense and the circumstances in this case. And the fact that this is, he obviously can't hurt the victim any more than he already has. This is a family violence matter. I believe that the probable cause affidavit that I've given the court supports the bond as it is set. And I stand by it and request that the court deny the bond reduction.
Okay. We all go back to Article 17.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, the rules for fixing the bond. And bond must be sufficiently high to give reasonable assurance that the undertaking will be complied with. I don't really have problems with that here in this case. The power to require bail is not to be used to make it an instrument of oppression. This court doesn't try to punish someone who has not been found guilty of a crime. And I mean, I've written the article on presumption of innocence, so no one that is apparently the lead article in Texas now, and that no one appreciates that more than me. So we get down to a couple of things here that really are in the zone of relationship to this case. The nature of the offense and the circumstances under which it was committed are to be considered, and the future safety of a victim of the alleged offense. Well, we've lost the poor victim, and I can't imagine the loss of a 1-year-old child to anyone whose family member plus the child didn't have a chance. 1-year-old children are completely dependent upon others, like adults who are their caregivers. The problem with this is, and nobody's addressed it, but it's right here in the 4 corners of probable cause affidavit. When the police went to talk to him to find out what happened, he lied. He lied. He lied when there was what you're saying, no reason to lie. You're defending him here and arguing for, he didn't have responsibility for this, but who would lie if they weren't? There was nothing to gain from an innocent person to have lied. But yet he did.
I don't know if the court wants me to respond or.
You may, but it's the elephant in the room.
Sure.
An innocent person would have no reason to lie. But yet he lied and then changed the story.
Judge, we're not, obviously,
No,
we're not here to try the whole case. Or
But it
anything like
has
that.
everything to do with the circumstances
Absolutely.
of the investigation.
Absolutely, Judge. We're not sitting here denying that there
And
was.
someone who's going to say, look, just give me all the conditions of probation, of bond, I'm going to follow them. I believe that, do I? Why would I believe that? In the most important moment of your life, probably, you chose deception rather than something else. Why would you do that? And why would I depend upon you to be under bond conditions in a case like this? And with your promises that you would keep, the first thing out of your mouth was deception here in a very serious case. For whatever reason, I'm not saying I don't know what, I really don't know. I mean, we can speculate all, but the fact of the matter is, you didn't have anything to lose by lying. You had everything to lose by lying. You said, I don't have anything to say, but why would you lie? There wasn't, you could have kept your mouth shut, I guess. But why would you say, well, let's try this story, which was proven to be false? And we're talking about the death of a child, which is, I got 2 children and 3 grandchildren. So you don't have to tell me about what they're worth. There is no price. They're everything. And I can't imagine being involved with something harming them. But if I did, I really can't imagine just falsifying something. A child is deceased on a terrible event by something caused her death. And then you're just thinking about a story for you that you felt like you could sell to the authorities. That's very disturbing. I mean, that's the elephant in the room here, folks. I mean, you bring in all these good things about the guy. He seems like a very nice man. People are saying good things about it. But this defies logic for somebody who carries that reputation. It flies in the face of the good things that you're saying about you.
And Judge, just if I may, just briefly.
Yeah.
You said it yourself. Innocent until proven guilty. At this point, these are allegations.
Unless proven guilty.
Unless proven guilty. That's right. Unless, not until. Thank you, Judge. We are at a bond hearing. This is not a bench trial.
No, but this is all part of this, wrapped up in the investigation.
Absolutely. I'm not.
And making promises of bond conditions are inherent.
Yes, sir.
So his reputation with me being truthful is not good, from what I know. A very important event. He's proven to be telling a falsehood. Look, I can't watch them 100% of the time. I've got to trust they're going to follow conditions of course. And this is very disturbing. I'm just a regular person reading for the first time. I don't know what happened to the child. Then the autopsy is performed. Then he changes the story after the autopsy.
Mhm.
the big thing with the autopsy is somebody has to explain the abrasions that are found on the child's face. That's what the second interview leads to, and his difference in the story.
By all means, Judge, we're not here to say that the allegations are not egregious. Obviously, they're egregious, and obviously it ended with the death of a child. But we are at a bond here. We're not here to prove guilt or innocence. We do know that the court needs to take into account
Well,
any evidence.
look, he lied. It could have been something other than, he wasn't indicted with an intentional act. Of an intentional act. We don't know.
This is an intentional act, Judge.
Intentionally causing the death. This is intentionally, or he would be charged with murder of the first degree.
Right,
Capital,
but
he would be charged with capital murder.
yes, there is that distinction, but his conduct alleged is intentional or knowingly. That's what makes it a first degree felony,
Yeah.
which makes it, there's limitations that kick in with all that, Judge. There are limitations that kick in with that. For example, the application 42A.054 of the Code of Criminal Procedure.
From the defense standpoint, Judge, it'll be extremely harmful to my ability to prepare a defense. If he's in custody, I won't be able to have as much contact with him. And I understand that's a general statement.
You know, but I can empathize because I did defense work for a long time, and
I've never had one.
It's hard doing it in the jail.
I've never had a defendant that no firearms, no priors, went to school, U.S. citizen. This is it. What he's got is serious, but this is it. There's no arm-long criminal history.
All that being said, he lied in this investigation, which could have thrown off the investigation too. I mean, we're trying to get to the bottom of the thing, and you certainly have a right not to say a word, but don't lead him in the wrong direction.
Sure.
Here's what I'm gonna do. This is going to cut both ways here. This isn't. It is very serious. The death of a child, and but he is charged with causing serious bodily injury to the child, not killing the child.
Yes, sir.
But still, it's the causing serious bodily injury to a child is certainly, you can't say that's a whole lot better off than homicide of the child. But I will. I'm going to reduce the bond but it's certainly not going to make you happy. But it's $500,000 right now. I'm going to reduce it to $250,000 plus, if he makes a bond, he is going to be on home confinement, except for work purposes, and you would go to and from work. You shall not have any contact with the child. A child, not just a real young child, a child.
Anyone under the age of 18?
Yes.
And I discussed the matter with him, and he's fully aware that could be.
And you have to have a GPS device. So I know that you're somewhere where you should be, not having contact with children or doing something outside these boundaries of the conditions of bond. Are there any other, can you think of any other conditions that the state would feel the court to consider?
Those conditions should meet all the needs, Judge. I have no reason to believe drugs or alcohol were involved, so these conditions should be fine. I would ask, since these I'm not familiar with this defense attorney that there's caution about not making any contact with witnesses. Those are your standard conditions, Judge. And I'm referencing the defendant. I know that
He'll get if he posts a bond, they're standard conditions that we have for this county. They're posted on the wall there, in the public waiting room right there, important right there. But when you're placed on bond, the bondsman gives you a copy of those so that you're aware of what your obligations are. Our next event is an announcement.
Yes, sir.
When would you like that?
We need a little bit of time to prepare, Judge. I don't know how far out the court is prepared to go or.
60 days?
That works for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please get a resetting.
Thank you.
Anything else? That's it. Lacey?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
And it had been at least 4 or 5 years, but we have it placed before, but
You're
4 or 5 years.
familiar. Yes, sir. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.